Hello and welcome to the WTF podcast with The Flow. My name is Stephanie Babane and I'm here to help answer all of your WTF questions when it comes to all things related to spirituality, mindset, and the metaphysical. I'll answer your what the F, who the F, where the F, when the F, why the F, and even though it doesn't start with a W, the occasional how the F questions that you might have upon entering the world of personal development and embarking on a spiritual journey. Ultimately, my hope and intention is that at the end of every single episode, you leave smiling and understanding a little bit more about yourself and how to live a happier life in the flow with this miraculous, infinitely expanding, all-loving universe that we all call home. I love you. Let's effing do this. Hello, my friend, and welcome back to the WTF podcast. This is episode number 5. I am so grateful to be here. I'm so grateful that you're here. Thank you so much for checking back in. I hope you're having an amazing week. And if not, I'm here for you. I love you. I'm sending you all the good vibes. And remember, it's not too late to turn it around. You can always shift your perspective. You can always do your best to focus on what's good and what's working. And the more that you do that, the more you will receive that. Which is actually a perfect segue into today's topic. The title of today's episode is What the F is Manifesting? And the reason I laugh at that is because I think manifesting has become a really big buzzword in the spiritual community. And so I felt a little nervous, truthfully, about talking about this, even though I love talking about it. And you can ask like any of my friends. I'm such a geek when it comes to talking about manifesting. But I felt really nervous about it because there's a lot to talk about when it comes to manifesting. And I know that I'm not going to fit it all in this one episode. And so I was like, what do I include? What don't I include? So I've pretty much decided what I'm going to include. And if need be, which, it looks like it will, I will go further into explaining in other episodes. And truthfully, this entire podcast is essentially going to be about manifesting. So it helps to know that because I'm really going to clarify what manifesting actually is here. And then as I talk about other subjects, it'll start to weave together and hopefully you'll see like, oh, this is what this has to do with it. And, I'm basically just going to explain a lot of things like in a different way over and over and over again until it clicks. That's how things work. That's how anything in life works. We learn through repetition, right? Like you didn't learn to tie your shoe by practicing it one time. You learned to tie your shoe by practicing it a million times. You just repeated it. It's the same with reading. It's the same with math. You just do it over and over and over and over again until one day you're like, got it. So what the F is manifesting? Manifesting is creation. You heard me say it a bunch of times already in other episodes that the purpose of why we're here is to create. And that's what manifestation is. The reason that it's become a buzzword is because whenever the topic I feel of manifesting comes up, it's always talking about like manifesting money and cars and like big glamorous things. And like we only do manifestation at certain times in our life. That's not true. We are manifesting literally every single moment of every single day. Not just like, ooh, I want a yacht, so I'm going to manifest a yacht. Like, yeah, you can do that. But it's not like you're just manifesting for that one period of time. Your whole life, you're manifesting. Your whole life is one massive manifestation process. All your life, you are creating. I always go back to it. You are creating everything in your life. That being said, I know that that's a really difficult thing for some people to accept because the topic always comes up of like, well, I didn't create my car accident or I didn't create this illness. And that's why I always go back to taking responsibility for the parts that you have played as far as your decisions go in that experience, and then acknowledge that, yes, we are all creating our own reality, meaning we're co-creating. So it is inevitable that we are going to be impacted by the choices that other people make, right? Like it's not like the environment, for example, is killing itself. That's because of a collective consciousness of choices that most of us are making, or many of us are making in a select few countries. They only learned it's only like 3 countries. But anyway, those choices of those people collectively are impacting the environment. The environment is not necessarily on the same level of consciousness as us, but I'm just using that as an example. So no, it's not entirely because of your choices that maybe something undesired happened, but you did make choices that it ultimately led you there. And that's okay. The whole thing about manifesting that's so important right off the bat that I'm going to say is, even if you are manifesting something that you don't desire, it's not a reason to start falling into blame. And it doesn't mean that it's your fault, especially when something horrible happens. That's not what responsibility is. Nothing is ever your fault in life, and nothing is ever for you like to blame. That just instills shame and guilt. No. Responsibility means just taking ownership of your life, regardless of what happens, whether it's good, perceived good, or perceived bad. Take responsibility for all of your results, and then decide what you want and go after that, regardless of what is going on in your circumstances. You have the strength and the power to overcome any circumstance or obstacle that's presented to you, so long as it's backed with a really, really, really strong desire. And that desire, that desire either has to be strong enough that you want to get away from pain, or strong enough that you want to lean towards joy. And I always recommend, they're kind of the same if you think about it, but to specify, it's like, let's say you're just so sick and tired of being in poverty that like you've just had enough and you're going to do whatever it takes to become wealthy, right? That's running away from pain. Or if you want to run towards joy, then you don't necessarily have to be in poverty. You just decide, I just want more. I just want to grow more. And so I'm going to expand, and I'm going to take risks, and I'm going to get that thing that I want no matter what it takes. So all that to say that we are always manifesting all the time. What I am going to explain to you is conscious creation, consciously manifesting. Most of us are not manifesting on a conscious level. We're just looking at our circumstances, reacting to them, creating thoughts about that, and then we create more of the same, basically. As I've already explained, that we create based on our habitual ways of thinking. So manifesting is bringing your thoughts, your words, and your beliefs into physical reality. I explained in the last episode that we live on 3 levels. We live on a spiritual level, on an intellectual level, or 3 planes of understanding, rather intellectual, spiritual, and physical. So intellectually is what we use. Our intellect is what we use to create ideas of what we want. In your conscious mind, that's where, which I explained in the last episode, that's where you start to create ideas. That's where you start to build fantasies. You use your conscious mind to do that. If what you are thinking in your conscious mind does not align with what you believe subconsciously, you're going to reject that fantasy. So the thing is, most people don't even give themselves permission to think big. Most people don't even give themselves permission to think about a fantasy, because immediately all of the reasons they can't do it or why it's too hard will immediately come up. And so they reject the idea before they even get a chance to really do anything about it. If you want something like a yacht, for example, you can have the yacht. And believe it or not, you don't have to work as hard as you would think you need to in order to get the yacht. You just first have to accept the idea that you can have it. Then you need to get emotionally involved with the idea that you can have it and convince yourself that you can have it by repeating it through your subconscious mind. There is something called the law of vibration. I have explained that everything in this universe is made out of energy. Everything. Whether you claim to be spiritual or believe in any of this, or you are strict scientists that only believes in what they see, we can all agree that everything's made out of energy. Energy moves in vibrations. Okay, everything moves in vibrations. So when you hear in the spiritual community or ever the word frequency, they're talking about vibrations of energy. And this is something that we all intuitively say, by the way. Like, how many times have you been like, I like you, you have good energy, or I like this place, it has good vibes, or I don't like this place, it has bad vibes. We literally speak about vibes, which are also feelings. We have feelings, right? This doesn't feel good. This doesn't feel right. We talk about vibes all the time. So everything has a vibration. Everything is moving constantly. Your hand right now, if you look under a microscope at your hand is moving. It looks solid, it looks still, but it's moving. Same for the table that's right in front of me. Same for whatever device you're listening to this on. Everything is moving at a frequency. Some things are moving so quickly at such a rapid, unimaginable rate that we can't even see it. We can't see it. The moment that you get a thought or an idea, the moment, it immediately begins moving into form. Your thoughts are also energy. They have a frequency. They have an either positive frequency or a negative frequency. It's based on your level of thinking. So the moment you have a thought, it immediately starts moving into form. So let's go back to the yacht example. You want a yacht. The moment you start to entertain that idea, the universe is already responding to it. And everything in the universe starts rearranging itself so that you can have a yacht. All the resources required are already here for the yacht. What do I mean by that? Well, the yacht either exists already, because you can get really specific. The universe loves specificity. So let's say you want a yacht. Okay, well, what kind of yacht? Do you want a white one? You want a black one? You want a gold one? How big is it? Do you want a captain with it? Like, I don't know enough about yachts to ask questions. I was like, what do the seats look like? Like, get really specific on the kind of yacht that you want. So that yacht either already exists or the people and the materials that you need to build it already exist. Either way, the yacht is completely possible for you to get. How you get the yacht, that's not up to you. That's not up to you right away. That's where a lot of people get tripped up when it comes to manifesting, and that's why they reject the idea. They think, a yacht, I have no clue how I'm going to get that. I have never, ever earned enough money to get a yacht. I don't know anybody that owns a yacht. I've never been on a yacht. I have no idea how to do that. So they immediately reject the idea of ever considering the fact that they could have a yacht. You don't have to know how you want a yacht. You just have to decide that you want it. And once you turn that idea over to your subconscious mind and get emotionally involved in it, that's when your vibration, right? We're going back to vibration. Your vibration will start to change. You will start to get on the frequency of what it is to have a yacht, right? So from there, you'll start to get ideas on how you can get a yacht. And some of those ideas, FYI, may be things you've never done before, and they might be a little scary. But nonetheless, you have an idea. So that idea is up to you for you to move into action and try. You have to take action. That's the thing about manifesting too, is some things truthfully might just show up in your lap. I believe in that anything is possible. So I'm not going to say that like a black and gold yacht won't just magically appear in your front yard. Who knows? Who knows? Is it likely? Probably not. It's probably not likely. But I do believe that anything is possible. But for the sake of consciously creating, and let's assume that the yacht's not going to come up into your front yard unless somehow you've taken action to arrange that to be the case. So you get an idea, a really big idea, an idea that you've never thought of before. This is called a C-type goal. There's 3 types of goals. So I'll get into that in another episode. But so just for the sake of this example, really big idea, yacht. You want the yacht. You accept the idea using your conscious mind, and you get emotionally involved by just fantasizing about the yacht. What would it look like? What would it feel like? Get very specific. By doing that, you're turning it over to your subconscious mind. You basically have to become obsessed with the idea. Then you pretty much let it go. You go about your day. You start doing things and entertaining ideas of what could possibly help you bring the yacht. Create some definite plans. Try the plans. You will get ideas. Take action on the ideas. No matter what, if those ideas don't work, you keep going. That's persistence and faith. If you really want something and you have a strong desire, you're not just going to let it go. You have to back it with decision. And when you decide that you're going to do it, you have to move with persistence and with faith in knowing that the yacht is already yours. Okay, so what do I mean by the yacht is already yours? Let's go back to the 3 levels that we all live on. Spiritual. The moment you get the idea, it's sent out into the universe. Abraham Hicks calls it rockets of desire. Rockets of desire. So it's sent out into the universe. The universe is already like, got it, great, cool, you want this. Perfect. The only thing that's stopping you is doubt. So let's say you doubt the idea that you can have it. Well, you've just sent another rocket of desire into the universe. Whatever you put your energy into, whatever you put your focus into for about 17 seconds, sends a rocket of desire out into the universe. And so that contradicts what you asked for prior. You said you wanted the yacht. You were super clear on it. But then you welcomed in doubt. You said, I actually don't think I can do it. The universe, because the universe is unconditional and impartial, says, oh, okay, got it. Okay, don't want the yacht. Cool, got it. Never mind. Like, the yacht's here, but you don't want it yet. Okay. The universe is only ever responding to your vibration. So spiritually, the yacht's already there. It's being held in what, again, Abraham Hicks would call a vortex. So just think of it like a holding space of all your desires. The only reason you're not seeing it in your physical reality is for 2 reasons. 1, you're not on the same frequency of what you desire. So you want a yacht. That yacht is on a different frequency from where you are right now because you're only ever getting what you're on the same frequency of. So a lot of people know about the law of attraction, but a lot of people don't know that that's actually a secondary law. The first law is the law of vibration, which is the frequency that you're vibrating at. So the frequency that you're vibrating at can be really high or it can be really low. Really high frequency, that looks like joy, love, happiness, gratitude, appreciation. And then lower vibrations are anger, sadness, greed, bitterness, envy, dis-ease. So if you want something that you've never had before, it's on a different frequency. You have to get on that frequency through your feelings, through your emotions. You have to feel like you already have it. And that comes with the knowing and understanding that the moment you ask for it, it's already immediately being given to you. Immediately. And you just have to let it come by maintaining your vibration. Well, how do you maintain your vibration? There are so many ways, but the number one that I'm going to tell you is gratitude. Being in a constant state of gratitude. Gratitude for all things, even the shitty things, even the things that you just do not want to be experiencing right now. Abraham Hicks explains manifestation in 5 steps. So I'm going to explain that to you based on what I just said. So step 1, according to Abraham Hicks, is you experience contrast. And I've mentioned contrast before. Contrast is when you are experiencing what you don't want in life, which is going to help you figure out what you do want in life. This goes with something called the law of opposites. So how could you know you want a lot of money unless you've experienced what it's like to not have a lot of money? Or how can you know you want a loving, healthy relationship if you don't know what a non-loving relationship looks like? And so that's what they refer to as sifting and sorting. You're just constantly sifting and sorting through life. I want this, don't want that. Cool, great. So you experience contrast. That's step 1. Step 2, once you've decided what you want, not your responsibility, the universe immediately responds to your request, immediately answers your desire. Okay, so whether that's asking through prayer or through a thought, speaking it out loud, whether it's something that you actually want or don't want, because again, the universe is impartial and unconditional. So, and whatever you focus on, you're gonna get. So if you're focusing on debt, the universe is like, oh, she wants debt. Wonderful, here she goes. If you want abundance and you focus on abundance, the universe is gonna be like, here's abundance. So you sift and sort through contrast. Step 2, universe immediately answers your prayer, your ask, your request, your desire. Step 3, you align with the vibration of your desire, which is what I already just said, right? If you want a yacht, you've got to get onto the frequency of what it's like to have a yacht. You've got to produce ideas on the frequency of getting on the yacht. How are you going to produce those ideas? Sifting and sorting, figuring out what works, what doesn't, failing, making mistakes, persisting, moving through it, doing it anyway. And what's going to happen is as you get better at it, it's going to be effortless. It's going to start to be effortless because once you let go, the universe again starts lining things up. So when you're taking aligned action, suddenly it's like you meet the perfect person to help you create your business, or you meet a yacht broker at a dinner that you originally didn't want to go to. Like you seriously never know how you're going to end up creating what you want. That's why I'm saying you have to let go of the how. You just have to get aligned with your desire vibrationally. Step 4 is to maintain your alignment as consistently as possible. So 4 and 5 are pretty much, they go hand in hand. So step 3, I would say, is that you get into alignment with the vibration of your desire by turning it over to your subconscious mind through emotion, getting emotionally involved with the idea. And then step 4 is staying in that vibration for as long as you can, as often as possible. And that's not easy because that means that you have to start kind of living in your fantasy while still living in the physical world. And that doesn't mean that you start neglecting your responsibilities, but you start to understand that you don't have to let your present circumstances dictate your reality. So one example, going back to the yacht, I don't know why I'm fixated on this, is you don't have a yacht in your physical reality right now. You don't. Like that's very clearly plain to see. It's not in your physical reality yet. So you have to go through your life every single day knowing you don't have a yacht in your physical reality while still acting like you have a yacht in your physical reality. What would it, because even though first of all, I do actually think like 100%, I'll get into this in another episode when it comes to imagination and visualization and acting as if, you can play and pretend that you're on a yacht, but you can also just reproduce the feeling of what it would feel like to be on a yacht. So let's say you feel really abundant and really grateful and really cool. Cool. Okay. What else makes you feel really abundant and grateful and cool? Where else can you reproduce and recreate those feelings? Our emotions are what produce feelings. Our emotions are our frequencies. So I think that's something really important. I know I'm tangenting, but I knew I was going to go into this episode kind of being like all over the place because it's just such a loaded topic. Our feelings are produced by our emotions, right? So I said higher frequencies are joy, love, gratitude. Lower frequencies are anger, doubt, and fear. So you want to get into the feeling of what it's like to have a yacht. Recreate those feelings. Those are your frequencies. That's what it means to get aligned with what you want. If you think about debt and that brings you into a state of worry and lack, you are going to create more of that because that's the frequency that you're on. That does not, again, give you an excuse to start blaming yourself and being like, I'm in anger. I'm just producing more lack. Crap. Fuck. No. It's no. Because that can happen. That's something that happened to me and has happened to me and still happens to me where I'm like, oh my God, I'm producing more lack because I'm thinking about lack. Stop thinking about lack. Blah, 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 blah. No. I'm with you. Doesn't have to be like that. Take a pause. Just simply catch yourself. Forgive any negative thought. Remember, you have a whole 17 seconds to stop focusing on what it is that you're focusing on. And then instead, come back into alignment with the frequency of what you do want. Look around in your environment, start appreciating the pretty colors, or think about a memory. You don't even have to look at what's in front of you. You can literally go back into your memory and think about something that makes you feel good. There are so many ways that you can pull yourself out of that negative vibration. It just takes your conscious effort and awareness and paying attention of your thoughts and feelings. Okay, so don't think that you're just like messing it up and then being hard on yourself for it because then you're just pushing it away even more. Be kind and compassionate with yourself and come back. Putting yourself back into alignment by just shifting your focus onto something that does bring you into a higher vibration. And that comes in steps. And maybe you're not necessarily going to go from depression to joy right away, and nor should you. But slowly in time, you can build yourself up through gratitude and appreciation. So anyway, from that tangent, that was step 4. So I'll recap. Is you experience contrast, you sift and sort. You decide what you want based on what you don't want, based on experiencing contrast. Step number 2, the universe immediately gives you what you want on a spiritual level. We can't see it because it's moving so quickly or because, we're not on the frequency of it yet. 3, align with the vibration of your desire by getting emotionally involved in the idea. Step 4 is to maintain your alignment consistently by focusing on the feelings of what it would be like to have what you already want. And then step 5 is to appreciate the contrast. And this is the part that nobody likes and that I already said, which is appreciate even the shitty things. And I believe that step 5 was one that they added. It used to be like 3 steps to manifesting. But that's a whole other level of gratitude, is when you can look at all the crap in your life, all the trauma, all the sadness, all the suffering, and actually find it in your will to say thank you for it. And I am really taking a moment to hold that statement for me even, because I've been through some shit, guys. I've been through some shit. And the shit that I've been through is relative, like it's nothing relative to what I'm sure so many other people have been through. And regardless of all of it, I wouldn't change it. And I say that because 1, I can't change it. It's not like I can go back into the past and just change it. It happened. And so all I can do is forgive it and seek the good in it. Every single thing that's happened in my life, every single chaotic moment, every single heartbreak, every single scary, traumatic event has had some good in it in some way or another because it's shaped me into who I am. It's really been excellent contrast because I can really appreciate a lot of things in my life now because of the horrible things that I experienced before. I just choose, like, that's a choice. My choice is I choose to focus on the good. I choose to focus on how those things ultimately made me better. I mean, for one thing, they made me more relatable. They made me more compassionate, more authentic, understanding. So, step 5 is to appreciate the contrast. I want to go back really quickly to finish something that I realized I didn't finish saying before, which was that there are only 2 reasons your manifestation is not in your physical reality yet. And that is 1, because you have not matched the frequency of what you want yet, right? So you have created a thought or a belief, a doubt or something that has likely delayed the manifestation. And 2 is that there's just a gestation period sometimes for what it is that you're creating. If you think about a seed, for example, if you cut open a seed, I don't care what size the seed is, you're not going to see a tree in the seed. But you know that if you plant the seed in fertile ground and you water it and you give it sunlight, it's going to grow into a tree or a flower or whatever it might be. It's the same thing for your manifestation. You've got to plant the idea, right? The seed is the idea in your mind. And you have to nurture it and water it and give it the energy that it needs so that it can grow into a tree, so that it can grow into your physical reality, so that it can manifest. That doesn't happen overnight. There is a period of time that it takes for you to get what you want in your physical reality. The truth is that it can happen a lot quicker than you think. The amount of time that it takes really is up to you and what you believe. So basically what I'm saying is, for example, if you wanted to earn $1 million in a day, you could. You could. It's not likely that you will if you have, because more than likely you have a lot of beliefs around the fact that you can. But that's the whole point of what I'm saying is if you wanted $1 million in a day and you just decided like it's happening, I don't care how, it's happening, and it's backed with purpose, and you've come up with an idea of how to take action in that direction, you can 100% earn $1 million in a day. There's even a story about it in the book Think and Grow Rich of how a pastor was thinking about some like building a school basically for 2 years. He was just thinking about it and thinking about it and thinking about it until finally one day he decided, I'm going to have a sermon. I'm just going to do it. I'm going to have a sermon. And I pray that someone there listens to my speech and will give me the $1 million that I need to open the school. And sure enough, that's what happened. This pastor earned $1 million in a year. That's more money than most see in a lifetime. So that's the only other reason that you wouldn't have your manifestation in your physical reality. A big, big, big part of manifestation is having faith. It's having faith. It's believing in the unseen. And what's so interesting is that the opposite of faith is fear. And fear is not something that you can see either, but we put plenty of attention into that. We put plenty of belief in that because we were programmed that way. So really, it's just a matter of choosing not to place your belief in fear, which is something you can't see, and instead place it in the other thing that you can't see, which is faith. It's just really, really trusting and knowing and believing that your manifestation is on its way. Plant that seed, nurture it, let it grow, get on the frequency, and trust that it's coming to you. So, to recap, what the F is manifesting? Manifesting is creating. And when are you manifesting? You're manifesting all the time. You are manifesting all the time. Manifesting is creating with your thoughts and your beliefs, your words and your actions. You think a thought, whatever thought you get emotionally involved in, you will create inevitably if you focus on it for long enough. Whatever you believe, a belief, just FYI, is a thought on repeat. So it's any thought that you've had enough times, particularly that you've gotten emotionally involved with, that becomes a belief. So going back to accepting or rejecting ideas, you have gotten so emotionally involved in the belief that you can't have a yacht because it's so hard to get a yacht. And so you don't even try. You don't even try because it's the thought of it, just you won't even entertain it. You eject it immediately. But then let's say you do. Well, how are you going to do it? None of your business yet. None of your business yet. Just get emotionally involved in the idea. Convince yourself over and over again through repetition. I'm so happy and grateful now that I have a yacht. That's another thing. I can't even believe I didn't mention that. So I mentioned that you have to act like you already have it. The reason you have to do that is because your subconscious mind accepts whatever you tell it. I told that in the last episode, but this is such an important part. Your subconscious mind believes whatever you tell it. It does not know the difference between real and imagination. It only cares about what you get emotionally involved with. It only cares about what frequency you're on. And so all you have to do is turn it over to your subconscious mind by repeatedly stating it in the present tense with feeling. And once you have planted it there, you will know because you will start taking actions, aligned actions that will lead you to the yacht. It will present you with ideas on how to create the income. It will present you with ideas on where you can go to meet the people that you need to meet, and so forth. The whole universe will orchestrate itself and rearrange itself for you, so long as you get onto the frequency of it. And that's why it feels effortless, because once you get onto the frequency, once you turn it over to your subconscious mind, remember your subconscious mind controls your actions. It controls everything that you do. So if you don't believe you can have a yacht, how will you know? How will you know if it gets turned over to your subconscious mind? Because you'll start taking action. That's really the only way that you'll know. If you're not taking action in the direction of getting a yacht, it's probably not in your subconscious mind. And you'll do it with ease. You'll do it with flow. You'll do it with joy. And you will know that you have faith when you keep going and you persist. That's a knowingness. That's the toughest part about manifesting, is knowing like you know that it's already yours, because the universe already gave it to you. It's already there. It's in the vortex. It has been created immediately. That's step number 2. So I'm going to leave it here because this is, like I said, it's such a loaded topic and I'm going to talk about it all the time, but I think it's going to be better if I break it down into segments and other episodes so I can explain more the law of vibration. I can explain more about how you can get onto the frequency, because you use that through higher mental faculties, which I will explain. So every time I do this podcast, I'm like, wow, there's so much to talk about. And it gets me excited and nervous at the same time, which is a good thing ultimately. And that means I know that I'm in the right direction. That's another thing. If you are scared and excited at the same time, then you are headed in the right direction, because that means that you are growing and expanding and getting to a place that you have never been before. And that is the purpose of being here. The purpose of manifesting and creating is for growth and expansion. It's not about getting. The reason we want those physical things, the reason we want the money and the physical material objects is because of the feelings that we think we will get when we have them. But in order to get those things, you have to have the feelings first. You have to feel happy and abundant and prosperous first before the physical items come into your physical reality. We always think it's the opposite. I will do this when I have the money. I will do this when I have more time. No. You have to create the feeling first, and then the thing will happen. You have to take action now. You only have now. So you have to start now. So that's what I mean. That's what I mean also when I say you have to get on the frequency. You have to get into the feeling of already having it. You have to get into the feeling of what it would be like to have the thing that you want. What would it feel like? Okay. Feelings are frequencies. So recreate that feeling. And then it will come to you. Then you will attract the resources required. Again, going back to law of attraction. Law of attraction is just responding to whatever frequency you're putting out. So yeah, I'm going to leave it here. And I look forward to expanding on this topic even more in other episodes. I hope that this gave you better clarity, better understanding, probably gave you more questions too. But don't overthink it. There are so many books that teach about this. There's The Secret. There's The Law of Attraction. There's Ask and It Is Given by Abraham Hicks. There is Think and Grow Rich. There is The Science of Getting Rich. All of them talk about this just in a different way. All of them. And I didn't even get into all of it. So I'm looking forward to finding different ways to explain this. And just FYI, I'm putting it into practice myself. I am in no way, shape, or form saying that I'm at this full level of understanding where I'm like, yeah, I'm just manifesting things in my reality left and right. I know that there's certain things I haven't turned over to my subconscious mind yet, because if I did, they'd be in my physical reality, or I'd be taking different actions. But the blessing is that I know how to turn over to my subconscious mind. I know, and I'm learning more and more how to do it. That's why I have a mentor. That's why I study this material. And that's why I do the things that I do. That's why I'm teaching it here. The only reason that I don't have everything I want in my life is because I don't believe it yet. But I believe that I will believe. And I know that I will have everything that I want in life at the end of the day. So I wish the same for you. I wish that you start to give yourself permission to think big and really start letting yourself believe that you can be, do, and have anything that you want in life. Because if we really go back to the truth of who and what we are, it's like we're saying that the universe can't handle what we're asking for. It's like we're undermining our ability and power. But we're infinite, powerful beings. We can literally do and be and have everything that we want. We've just been conditioned to believe otherwise. So here's to the end of that. I love you so, so freaking much. I hope that you have the best week ever and that you keep finding reasons to smile. And until next time, I love you, and I'll talk to you soon. Quick little edit I want to make to this video. I was re-listening and I heard that I made at least like 3 word jumble mistakes. And I was like, I don't know how to fix this. I don't know how to edit it. So I'm just going to speak to it. Do I put it in the show notes? I don't know. So I just chose to speak to it. So the first little hiccup that I made, which I think you guys pretty much would like figure it out, but was I said that step 4 and 5 go hand in hand when I was talking about the steps for manifestation according to Abraham Hicks. I meant that steps 3 and 4 go hand in hand. So I think somewhere in my talking, I like jumped ahead because I was very excited about this topic. So that's my one clarification. And the other was I said something like act like you have what you already want. So I meant act like you have like I meant act like you already have what you want. So I mean, it was like a little word jumble. And then the last thing was when I was telling the story about the pastor. The story was that he earned $1 million in a day, but somewhere towards the end of the story, I said he earned it in a year. When no, in fact, he earned it in a day. He had the idea for 2 years, but once he took action, he earned it within a day. So that's the point I wanted to make. Those are the three hiccups that I made that I thought were like not totally detrimental to the episode, but enough for me to be like, I'm just gonna fix this. I'm just gonna correct myself. So there it is. And if you heard any other hiccups or any other mistakes, always feel free to let me know. Feedback is feedback. It's all good and it all helps me grow. All right. I love you. Thank you so much for taking the time to listen to this episode of the WTF podcast. I hope that you gained all kinds of value from listening and that your WTF question was answered. If you like what you heard and you want to hear more, then be sure to hit the subscribe button and follow me on Instagram at Coach Stephanie B. If you have a WTF question of your own, or you have any interest in working one-on-one with me, then feel free to send me a private message. And when it comes to your question, I'll do my best to answer it either here or privately. In the meantime, until the next episode, I'm wishing you the most wonderful day, the most wonderful week, and reminding you to smile and then see if you can make somebody else smile. Until next time.